Welcome Diecast fans, I'm Tom Spanners-Watson.
And I'm Frank Guru Gibbs.
And it's time for another DRN report. The DIRS has just finished at RTR Diecast Racing League, so that's 3 tracks down and it heads to Jackson Pass next week, so make sure you check that one.
There's a new Diecast Racing report out, make sure you have a look at that one, it's excellent.
And then Nero 62 is back after quite a hiatus, and you've got to check out this transformation of this tuned Chevelle to this stunning beast here. Absolutely brilliant work, have a look at his channel. Now, along with our channel, any channel that you do like, it really helps everyone out if you like, comment and subscribe. And if you really like it, make sure to share it with your friends. It helps everybody to create more content for you. Alright, let's crack into it tonight. We've got drag racing first up and we're going to see Scorpio Love Smith. Now this was Lamborghinis versus Porsches, and I really enjoyed this track. He's got a little double crossover, so it's still laned the whole way, and it's not a crash track, just that little added twist to the track. It's very cool stuff.
Then it's over to DAE and on with his NFL series, so I've seen him a few times, lots of good racing on his channel, and again, just straight up drag racing.
Then we go to Gravity Track Grand Prix, so this is a relatively short track, done outdoors this time, but very nice racing there. If you haven't seen Gravity Track, go and check them out.
Then my Hot Wheels collection had the King of the Garage series, or King of the Garage, however you want to pronounce it, and as always, just good quality racing action there.
Low Country Diecast had a slightly different track. Now, it wasn't traditional drag racing, it has our favourite where it goes into a wide track format. Really good racing, a lot of fun to watch. And there's been quite a discussion about drag racing over on Redline Derby. Make sure you head over and check that one out, it's quite interesting.
Then we go to Pena Tabua and their short little drag track. So this is obviously open and not really laned, but a lot of fun.
And then speaking of a lot of fun, it was back to Rust Belt Racing here for the Micro Mod drag race. These things are so crazy.
Irons Diecast got outside again, and this time they did a triple loop, which I thought was pretty cool.
And I'm really enjoying this update to the Wallside Racing track. Just these little bridges here, taking out some of the big drops, but then sort of halved the drop with this one, going with the plunge straight off the end.
Now, BlueLine Racing, they're part of a multi-track tournament for drag racing, and as always, just high quality entertainment over at the Northeast Beast. Not to mention, I've never seen one of those London cabs drag racing before, especially against the tuned Hummer. It was very cool.
Then Hot Wheels Calgary, more daily racing there, and this particular one was a bit harsh where both cars failed to finish.
Now Summers Raceway, we mentioned last week, they're back into it, so they're on their 5-pack racing tournament at the moment.
And then Main Street races, more quality British drag racing here. So this was the Lancia versus the Audi, best of 5 races I believe it was, so have a look at their channel for that one.
And then WeRaceDiecast have got the travelling party wagons that were over at Indiana Diecast Racing, and he's running them on his track at the moment. It's provided a lot of interesting entertainment watching these little things fly down the track.
Now Big Poppy was back with some drag racing as well, and if you're not aware, head over to Redline Derby. He's got a call out for the Big Poppy Diecast Games. It was an epic tournament last year.
Release your inner Frank with this classic Give It the Beans t-shirt, available from chaoscanyonmerch.online.
Welcome back race fans, let's get into the tournament. So we're going to kick off with the DIRS at RTR Diecast Racing League. So Mike has done an absolutely phenomenal job on the racing. There's been some epic action, and this particular one of Josh's best of a truck just taking out the win here. And then in the final round, there was this race here with Knocky Jack almost taking the win at the last minute, but just getting held out. So remember, if you haven't seen it, head over to RTR Diecast Racing League and check that out.
Then it was time for the Mustangs at the Canyon, and these boys lived up to their crazy reputation. They got absolutely wild on track. This was race number 1. Now, they did actually finish a few races, it wasn't all carnage.
And then we also had the V8 Super Sprints. Now, these are all rubber wheel cars, so it was quite interesting on the track, and man, these guys brought the pain. It was so much fun and some brilliantly close racing.
Yeah, Kiwis versus Aussies. You've got to think the Aussies are going to take it.
Settle down, Frank. Come on. You guys could barely stay on track.
Oh, well, let's just see how the Kiwis do next week then. Then we go to 3D Botmaker and his new Lamborghini tournament. Now this, of course, was the return of Gab Formoso. If you've been on the channel for a while, you'll know who Gab Formoso is. If you haven't, go back and check out the 2018 Lamborghini tournament. But some epic racing action there, and surprisingly a few accidents. I thought these things being so low and fast would stick to the track.
Top Driver had NASCAR madness and just some exciting racing action on this track. The drivers put on such a good show on this track. It's always fun to watch. It's wide enough that there's some excellent overtakes and long enough to give the cars a chance to run hard.
And then a track we haven't seen much of for the last couple of months is Massenbot. So they took a long hiatus, I'm not sure why, but they're back racing.
Now we head over to Monster Motorsports for the continuation of the Classic Muscle Car Masters. Now unfortunately we were knocked out in the first round, but this is shaping up to be an excellent tournament. This car out in front here just left the field behind. It was a massive win.
And then Diecast Draggor back outdoors again, and some more quality racing on this channel. I'm really impressed with this new track, and I noticed that they've started to add more theming to it as well. It's very nicely done.
Then Alley Cat and their new track. Some vicious races here, and I was really surprised. So here you see the blue car goes off the track. I thought the other dude had stalled out completely, but he actually managed to keep going for quite a long way.
Then Poverty Hollow had the Spectra Flame wide open. So these absolutely stunningly painted cars are just beautiful. And you see this car out in front, the shoebox, was way ahead but just got loose going into that corner and got taken out.
Now HH Racing, we highlighted them in Trax last week. They've just started into their tournament. Have a look at that one, and I just like this. You'll see in the replay here, this guy gets the corner wrong and just goes off at like the highest point.
Now Sonora Diecast were a little bit more reserved this week, but still plenty of action on this track. Look at that blue car there. So there's a little hump going down, and he gets this bounce and just smashes into the podium area, and Batman yet again goes flying.
You know, Lego Batman was one of my favourite films.
Oh, I don't blame you, mate. It's hilarious.
Then we head over to MNM Racing League, and some great action on this track. I'm really enjoying it. Love that little crossover to start, and there's been some very tight racing action.
Now Tokyo Diecast is another one that we featured last week. It's all handmade, and considering it's so short, there's quite a lot of action on it.
It was down to the season playoffs for Threes Racing over at Trax Racing. Now the CRX had to be the fan favourite going in. It was one of the fastest cars they've ever had on this track, and man, it lived up to its reputation. Look at the way it overtakes here, but it couldn't keep it straight all the time.
Cleveland City Diecast had a rip-in race, which I really like because it kind of keeps everyone even because they're running stock out of the packet cars. So there's no lube, there's no extra things done to the cars.
Now, Indiana Diecast Racing continued on with the sock hop slam, and honestly, he's going to be running this for some time. Now, this huge car on the inside, I thought was just going to fall over in the first corner because it's so high, but it turned out it was one of the other cars that fell over, and then look at the way he just steers around it, and then storms down to the finish for the win. It was absolutely superb.
Yeah, I would have put money on the fact that thing was going to just tip over. Now, Meal Ticket Raceway, again, this is just one of the biggest tracks out there. It's absolutely huge. And even though it's laned, there's still quite a few accidents on it. It's really surprising. And what I really like about this track is, even if you're way out in front like this yellow car at the moment, check this out. Coming into the last straight, he wipes out. So it actually can be anybody's race until they've crossed the finish line.
Now, War on I-4 have been another track that's been on hiatus, and we know why. He's completely redesigned his track, and look at this epic starting grid. That is phenomenal. I've never seen a starting grid for diecast racing that big. So he's got lanes the whole way, but this is just a phenomenal track. I love what you've done here, man. And it looks like most of those lanes are 2 cars wide the whole way as well. So very, very cool. Have a look at War on I-4.
Now, the dynasty of Dodge continued on over at Bay City Diecast, and this is another great track with lots of opportunity for overtaking and some big crashes as well. It's a phenomenal track and a great series.
I wish we'd had time to have sent a car.
Oh, me too, mate, me too.
Then Urban Underground Racing. It's not often you see a Jetsons car up against a V8 Interceptor from Mad Max. Definitely unique racing over there.
Now, next gen Diecast Racing, it was round 2 of the Piston Cup, and I just love these cars. They look so good, and this race was a lot of fun here. Look at the way that guy gets up coming out of that corner, gets up on 2 wheels, pulls it back down, and just ends up going off track.
All right, Diecast GT, some great racing action on this track as well. So check this out. You see the Camaro overtake the Superbird there, come up on the Viper, and then almost slip past, and then you've got the Charger in the background there, just snaking out the Superbird. Look at this, so close, and then a phenomenal overtake right at the last minute.
So as we move into street racing, we're going to kick off with Canyon Outlaws, and we wanted to show this race between Caven and Bad Apple. So Bad Apple's had some patchy performance recently, but she had her car absolutely dialed in, and look at this overtake. Sweet Tea absolutely doing a number on Bobby Orr there, gets up the inside. Even though she bounces off his door, she gets the car under control and stormed down to the finish for a superb win.
And now we head over to Commotion Diecast for some more epic action. Absolutely loving this new track. And this dude here, so he does a 180, but then look at this overtake through here, going in reverse and storms down to take the win. It's brilliant.
That's an impressive drive in reverse, and I love how they go too wide around that corner. Alright, then it's over to Hot Car Track and Road Warriors. So this is an absolutely epic series. If you haven't seen it, head over to Hot Car Track and check it out. And while you're there, remember to like, comment and subscribe to his channel. He puts out a lot of really high quality content. It's a lot of fun to watch.
And then 3D and the King of the Mountain series. Just wanted to show this one here, League of Speed there, getting taken out by the Mustang. But don't worry, he had an excellent night apart from that first race. Absolutely cleaning up. League of Speed showing why he's called League of Speed.
And then 164 Underground Diecast Racing had this epic battle through here. So the Evo does a 180, but then gets in front and can't hold on through that last corner. Hands the race to the BMW. You'll see it here in the replay. So he comes through, flips the car around, nicely through the second corner, but into this third one, he just sits too low, gets his angle wrong, flips it over. But look at the way the BMW just goes around. It was beautiful.
All right, into special events. Roadrunner Raceway continued on with their demo racing. So it's very short and pretty brutal, but who doesn't enjoy watching cars smash into each other?
And then another thing that we really enjoy is the rock drop jump over at Beaverworks. That car there just doing a superb job showing you how it's done.
And then speaking of superb, Flat Rabbit and Modstock Monster Mayhem. Absolutely love this custom track, and it's such a cool series. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check out Flat Rabbit. It is epic, and there's more of this to come. Lots more, in fact, with custom trucks coming out soon. It's excellent stuff.
Alright, Gravity Throttle Racing. So this is another one from Trax by last week, and we love this track. Love that drift corner to the first straight, and then down through this section here. We love as well that they're pretty much hand built most of this track rather than it being stuff you buy off the shelf. He's got a couple of drift corners in there, and then I love this 8-beater section right at the end. It's rough, it's brutal, but that's what rally racing's all about.
Now, something quite interesting was the 24 seconds of lemons. So the idea with this race is unusual. You have to cross the finish line, but it was the slowest car to pass the finish line. So that's really tricky. Sure, you can build a really slow car that doesn't go anywhere, but to make it finish as well, very impressive.
Now, in Trax by tonight, we're going to kick off with Marcus Firegon's Snow Valley drag track. So it's going to be quite interesting. There's going to be a lot of good racing on that channel. Have a look at that one.
Now, something we're super excited about is DRC. So technically they've been around for a while, but they are just relaunching their DRC track. So this thing is huge. They've made it much longer. There's all sorts of drops and jumps and absolutely brilliant. Love it. Really looking forward to the series starting up. That'll be starting soon. Make sure you check out and make sure you subscribe to DRC.
Now another newcomer is EP Video's Underground Diecast Racing, and this is really unique. So not only are there lights in the track, but I really like this race style. So he's put barrels on the course and drivers lose points for hitting those barrels. So it's not just about finishing, it's about how many points you finish up with as well. And it's beautifully filmed.
Right, let's go to replays of the week. We're going to kick off with the Mustangs and this move from Idiot Luggage. The first driver we've ever had rail slide from above the jump, transition straight onto the rail after the jump, and then we had Zombie try it, get it all kinds of wrong, but he was the first driver to ever go off at the bridge, completely cut out Kahuna Corner, finish on his wheels, and then finish the race. Absolutely unheard of. And then this from the V8 Super Sprint is one of the craziest overtakes we've seen. D Platt there getting up on two wheels to get around Mark D, who'd gone over in front of him. You see it on this replay here. So Mark D goes over, starts spinning, and if D Platt hadn't got his rear end up that high, he would have been knocked off the track. It was just incredible.
And then back to RTR Diecast Racing League, and Josh Poffler there out in front, but starts spinning wildly, and the two drivers with just a beautiful overtake get around the outside of him and leave Josh to pick up third place.
Now this one from WeRaceDiecast was just incredible. Check out this dude jumping from the back all the way to the front. Now it would have been even more epic if he had finished on his wheels. That would have been absolutely legendary, but still, props to the driver for trying it. That was impressive.
And then MNM had his fair share of accidents as well. You see that first car going over, flips on the straight. The Mustang tries to go wide, but then gets shunted up onto the side barrier.
And then the CRX at Tune Trax. So the CRX was probably the fastest car on the track, but he had all sorts of handling problems this time. And that one there just getting pasted into the sidewall.
Now back to Bay City, Dynasty of Dodge. I don't know if you caught that, but this guy here comes around, he's in first place, stalls out, gets hit by all three cars, gets pushed down, goes sideways again, then gets flipped off track while the other two go through for the win.
Now, speaking of getting pushed, Dayton Daytona Johnsonson there up against Mike Mays and Scud. 5-0, the police car. We just couldn't tell who won it, so we had to run it again, but that was the closest finish we've ever had on the Canyon.
And then I love this one from Hot Car Track. You see the Mini there pulls to the right, the car in front tries to cut him off. You see it here in the replay. And then he quickly cuts back to the other side, gets around him and takes the win. Stunning.
And then back to Gravity Throttle. And I love this overtake here. Then the white car tries to get in front and tries to shut him out. So you see there, the white car goes loose, gets overtaken, then comes down, tries to overtake again and gets taken out.
And then back to the rock drop jump. And this one here, first jump of the night, and he comes through and absolutely nails the camera. You couldn't even find it better. It was perfect.
And then we're going to finish off tonight with Flat Rabbit and the Modstock Monster Mayhem. This jump here was great, but I love the wheel stand all the way to the finish. Check this out. So they both come through, collect the tires, and then look at that wheel stand. How did it not fall over sideways or tip right over backwards? It was absolutely epic.
That's pretty darn impressive. It's just shaping up to be such a good series.
All right, now remember, head over to redlinederby.com. There's some great conversations going on about how to work your commentary and your racing together so that they work without either one dragging or taking too long. That's enough for us tonight. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tom Spanners Watson. He's Frank the Guru Gibbs, and we will see you next time.
Man, there are so many good tracks out there. This report's getting massive.
I know, mate. I know. It's huge.